Maybe you've heard of the Three Musketeers. Maybe you've heard the Three Tenors. Maybe you've seen the Three Amigos. Today for you on Massillon Magazine, we have the Three Historians. I know. No, not Three Stooges, not Three Stooges. We're pleased to have Mr. Joe Herrick and Miss Margie Vogt with us today. What I don't understand, Joe, is you have the degree in history, I have the degree in history. Her degree is not in history, but we read her books on history.
She's a good researcher.
I guess, yes. But we're here today just kind of hanging around, talking Massillon, which we all love, and we're kind of looking at pictures. And we're going to kind of look at some things that show you what Massillon may have looked like in the past. So if you're old enough, you might remember it, or if you're young, you might say, I didn't know that, or you might say, I don't particularly care. What else is on right now? This is old school. This is using slides. This is not PowerPoint. This is
the 19th century.
This is 19th century technology, which worked fine for a lot of it. It's like going to Grandpa's and looking at vacation slides, which most of the time wasn't fun. Of course, depending where Grandpa went. He might have gone to the beaches of Rio. That could have been some fun too. Again, Jay David's behind the camera as always, drinking our coffee.
Thank you.
And hi guys, welcome.
Thank you.
All right.
You're making more noise with that coffee cup than the projector.
Sorry about that.
It's a nervous habit.
Yeah. So let's turn some lights on and look at some.
Let me come over and turn off the light.
Yeah, come over and turn off some lights.
A1 production.
That's right.
Lights, camera, action.
There we go. Camera action.
Wow. And we're zoomed in.
Are you ready to go?
Yeah.
All right. I guess what we're looking at here is probably the ugliest sign ever made for the city of Massillon, in my opinion.
Made uglier by dumped over shopping carts.
Yeah, but dumped over shopping carts too. But look at the service clubs on there. You got the Kiwanis. The lower right is the Evening Optimist, I think. The Rotary. What's not on there is the Exchange Club, Lions Club. I think somebody ran over that thing.
This is my favorite spot in town to watch the fireworks.
From the parking lot of
the parking lot of Kmart, which this was taken, next to the sign, you'd see the fireworks at the stadium.
Okay.
And then after those fireworks were completed, the Stark Drive-In had fireworks.
Oh, okay. And for you young folks, that is the Stark Drive-In, lower right-hand corner. Really kind of a fun place to go to. Today, it looks a little like this. Not quite the same. But when you look at some of these pictures, you kind of decide, are we better off or not? Is this something that looks better or not?
And there's that same sign.
What sign? Is the round sign there?
The sign,
I never noticed that. That's the framework for it.
That's what's left of it.
I never noticed that. Never noticed it here or even there. So, we're going to go up and hang balloons on it just for old time's sake.
I think it's long gone now.
Is it long gone now?
Yes, that's an old picture too.
I might have taken these a few years ago. Yes. Before I got my digital camera, I was still shooting
McDonald's
film.
has been remodeled twice since then.
Sorry about that. Okay. Again, downtown Massillon in the 1930s. Margie, what'd you call this in your book? The 1853 block?
1851 block. I just call it that because we had a big fire in Massillon in 1851, and that whole block burned. So all of these buildings that we know today are from after 1950.
Okay. And then, of course, Easter a couple years ago, another fire in there in that same stretch. But this is right on the square. You're looking at the Lincoln Way, kind of going up that way, and Erie Street would cross. Today, it looks like this. Almost today. A couple of years ago.
Before the Easter fire.
When Don Cornell is still in business. Of course, now that's somebody else.
What is the square? Is the square Erie and Lincoln Way, or is the square First Street in Lincoln Way where the park is, the square park and such?
I was always understood it was Main and Erie because that's where the police booth was, right at the square of town.
I think it's Main and Erie. I've been confused about that forever, my whole life. It doesn't make sense, but I think it's at Erie Street because that's where the directions change. It's northeast on one side and northwest on the other side of Erie Street.
And that's why she's writing the book and we're not.
That's right. I got a question from
Yes,
the
sir.
background.
Actually, hang on 1 second.
Yes. Okay, we're back. Jay David had to go disappear for a second.
Had to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
All that coffee.
So, okay, this is the across the street. You're looking at the southeast corner of the square, which is Lincoln Way and Erie Street.
South Erie Street.
South Erie Street.
So that's Jim Snively's office.
Jim
Yes.
Snively's office right now. Before that was the Reliable Loan Company way back in the day. R.J. Miller jewelry store was in there. The Eclipse Bargain Store was there in about the middle of the picture. Betty Edelman Dance Studio.
The Alibi Bar surrounded the office. It was L-shaped behind his office at the time.
2 entrances, yeah. A lot of
Yes.
people don't remember that. Yeah, I remember going into both bars, or going into one and coming out drunk in the other.
That happened because it was the Dillon's store, and they had like ready-to-wear clothing on the first floor, and they had tailors on the second floor, and they manufactured clothing on the third floor, and they were successful and outgrew their Lincoln Way store, and when the store on South Erie Street became available, they bought it, and that's what
Oh, that's what they did.
Yeah.
Well, that's where Dillon was. Okay. Of course,
Early.
Dillon
Early.
Avenue, early.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Now the building on the corner shows in the very first photograph we have of downtown Massillon.
This one here.
Yes.
Okay.
It shows up. Abel Fletcher took the photo. We always hoped it was in the 1840s, but it's probably in the mid 1850s because we see a railroad track now in the picture. So
And Abel Fletcher's studio would have been across the street here,
Yes.
correct?
Mhm.
Okay. Of course, right in here was Ritter's Photography Studio, and later Balsley's Drugstore was in there. And today, or a couple of years ago,
Snively and Kimmons, attorneys at law.
Snively and Kimmons, yeah. Not too bad. 19. This is after 1907. This building was built when, Margie? First World War, wasn't it 1914, 13, something like that? Do you recall? This is the Woolworth store.
Well, that building
you're
was
talking-
here for Reinhard Ausmus in 1914 because he drew his artwork of that building.
that's right.
Yeah,
with-
I'm sorry,
I'm
I
guessing it was new then.
I thought you were talking about the building on the left, but the McClymonds building was built in 1909, but it was built just the two sections on the right, but
Right.
it filled quickly, and so then the left series of right there
That was added
was
on.
an addition immediately.
And this picture here, I guess the reason I was trying to date it is because this bridge is still right here.
Yes.
And this would have been the
Before
Canal
19
Bridge.
Canal Bridge.
Yes.
1913.
1913, yeah. Look how nice this building looks down here. They were, Massillon Main Street for years was wondering if the original stonework was down here where Cornell's was, and Rogers Jewelers and everything before. Look how nice it looked there with the
And that's the
bank.
building that was in the previous photograph of the square.
Correct. Okay. And this is a trolley car.
Is that what a trolley looks
That's
like?
what they look like. Today, too bad. The sign up here that used to say Boost Auto Club is not there. Of course, the D&K store here now where the Hanson shoes and everything used to be.
There used to be up to 5 different dime stores on that.
Right here.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, the 5 and dime row. This would have been the Woolworth store. And then we have Neisner's. I think this is Newberry, or here's Neisner's.
That's Neisner's Annex. See, I count
Okay,
that as an
Neisner's,
extra one,
Niners.
so-
Long's Newberry's, Kresge's, Rogers Jewelers was in here. One of those used to have the trains in the basement at Christmas time. And you go down there and see the train layouts and everything. And the this store back here, when it was Woolworths, I was a stock boy in there. And they used to have to sweep the floors. And at that place, they had the candy counters were down in the middle. At the end of the candy counter was an open counter of cashew nuts that had these lights on them that would keep them hot. That was also the cleanest aisle in the store because I would go up and down that way and up and down that way, and you had to sample the nuts as you went by. And then on the other side of that, at least one thing when the bar came to town, they opened up the windows that were on the building. For years, that was just cemented over. But it had an elevator that went from the up into the sidewalk. It came out of the candy room in the basement there, and went right up into the sidewalk. So that was kind of cool. Okay, so that was that one, and whoops,
We're going backwards.
moved on the wrong way. Sorry about that. Just like high school. I don't know.
You never did run the projector,
Yeah, I
did you?
know, I
No.
know. Hey, I was president of the AV club.
I was going to say,
Oh, what
you
scares
did
me.
AV club,
That's
but
right, we
apparently you
did.
were.
Louis and Stone Film and all that stuff. Yeah, so here it is, 5 and dime row, probably 1920s or 30s vintage. In the 70s, that same area looked kind of depressed. And again, just the red fronts now, but the stores are gone. The Stone Brothers clothing over here. Second floors of those all look pretty dilapidated. And a lot of these pictures in the 70s or 80s were taken by my brother Frank, who used to go around town, luckily taking pictures of everything. But this was all torn down and replaced in a period of urban renewal and replaced by
First National Bank.
this building, which now has, I think, 4 people working in it, something like that, unfortunately.
Nicest thing that came out of the 70s were the muscle cars.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. And there's a mural there. I forget which one that one's called, if it's still there or not.
It's not there anymore.
Is it gone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, the old Conrad Hotel.
Conrad Hotel.
Uncle Mark had his barber shop in the basement.
He did.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Mark Ross.
Mark Ross had
Oh.
one of the barber. I guess there was a 3-seat barber shop in the basement, but that's where Uncle Mark was.
There were a lot of basement barbershops in town. This was also called the American Hotel,
Right.
the Park Hotel.
Mhm.
And didn't you tell a story in your book about the balconies?
Well, I
Do you
know
recall?
that candidates used to do political speeches from there.
Okay.
And the first floor, when it was an open porch like that, was a favorite place. Like after lunch, fellows played cards there, and I've been told that Fire Chief Burkle liked to take a nap there, and in case there happened to be a fire, the guys knew where to find him. They'd just swing by on their way to the fire.
Honk at him.
Yeah.
Hey, Chief, come on, yeah. Wow, wow.
Yeah.
Of course, I remember this as Keister's Sewing Center.
Right, right.
I don't remember being in the hotel in its heyday at all.
I don't think I
Whenever that
ever
was.
inside the lobby.
Yeah, yeah. Again, here's a view of the hotel. Looking from the other direction, you're looking south, and that's the Conrad Hotel, the yellow building. Person here at Maslin Pro Am, Burner Cigar Store here, where kind of Mayor Ciccinelli got his start working behind the counter. Tom Coyne's Flowers was in here. Maslin Camera Shop, was that in there or across the street?
I think it was across the
Across the
street.
street. And then not too many years ago, the same view looked like this. That's pretty sad. Of course, now that's half of its parking lot for Shears, which is a good thing. The Ideal building, so-called, I guess, because the Ideal department store was in there, but this was also called the Hess Snyder building.
Hess Snyder built the building.
They built the building? Okay.
One of their family members owned the Ideal, which was up on West Center, on the west side of the Tremont Viaduct, the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Viaduct, which is what we call it now. And they built this building for the Ideal Company, which moved downtown at that
Okay,
time. This
okay.
one was built, I think, in 1918.
Okay. And of course, over here, Falk building,
Falke.
home of Rick's Brothers store for a while, I think.
There was
In the
a Maslin
building.
restaurant in there.
Maslin
at one
restaurant in
point.
there.
Mhm.
Of course, that's City Hall Park down here. This almost looks like a little statue, doesn't it?
I think, can we see the gazebo there? Is the, no. Oh, no, I know what
No.
these are. Right here are World War II plaques.
Are they? Okay, it looks like maybe like a trifold.
Did those move down in front of the new city hall?
No, I don't think so. I don't know.
I don't ever remember seeing
I
them.
think I knew at one point what happened to them, but the names are all now in a beautiful bronze plaque inside the library. And then in 2001, we put all the names, I think there are 150 quinsetuascendo.
Yes,
We put
yes.
the names on the World War I and World War II monument that is in Veterans Memorial Park.
Okay. And let's see. Well, of course, right now there's a clock down here with your name on it.
Yes, it is.
In the 30s, it kind of looked like this. It was the Ohio Merchants Bank, later to become People's Merchants. And for some of you younger people, like Joe, you don't remember these.
No, what's the half shell there, Rudy?
Thank you, nicely. Right on cue. That was the entrance, and again, I only remember this vaguely. This was the entrance to the underground restrooms that were underneath City Hall Park. And again, that's the site now of the clock that's built, the town clock downtown.
That's on the Tiger Rambles movie.
That's on the Tiger Rambles movie that we've shown here, yeah, where they're going down there. That was evidently like a green fiberglass. One here, one on the other side of the park. And then when they were digging a foundation for the clock, they ran into the walls.
You can see clear down in.
Yeah, then in the 80s, they were replacing this sidewalk over here. And again, it was hollow underneath. So you could see the white walls underneath. And they ultimately filled it with sand. So I did manage to purloin one of the glazed tile bricks that were in
So you have a bathroom tile from the public restroom.
there. What can I say? I did sanitize it. I stuck it in the yard for a couple of years. You know, what can I say? And again, today it kind of looks like this.
I have what I think is a funny story about this intersection. You know, the drive-through for People's Merchants was across the street.
Oh yeah, we're here, yeah.
And sometimes, a couple of times, the pneumatic tube that went from the drive-through over to the bank, because your money or whatever.
Did it go all the way over?
It went under the street, but it got jammed a couple times, and the Vogt Construction Company had to come and dig it out.
Is that right?
Yeah, had to dig out the jam.
I didn't know this. See, I didn't know if they, because, yeah, folks, if you haven't seen this, but don't remember this was the bank building over here. Across Lincoln Way was a small drive-through for the bank. And I just thought they just physically carried the money back and forth each day. They had the tubes that went underneath the street and everything. Oh, cool. I wonder if that's the tunnels that people refer to that go underneath the streets.
Those are such a puzzle.
I know.
No, there are open tunnels man-size that go under the street. And when you were back in the 5 and Dime block,
Yeah.
actually down past there, the Westland, David Brothers had a toy store. And my best friend growing up was Dan David, whose father owned that. And I used to go down there with him and play in the basement.
Okay.
And we could climb up and get under the tunnels and walk clear out underneath Lincoln Way.
Now, were those drainage
And-
tunnels or no?
No, they were access tunnels. Some of them were the cargo elevators that went up to the sidewalk, like you were saying at Woolworths.
Yeah.
And some of them were just access tunnels to get to the underground utilities, the piping, the wiring, telephone, and such like that.
Okay.
And we were hoping from the engineer's office to get down there this summer. However, they wouldn't let us get into the tunnels because the only way is to go into the sewers now.
Is that right? Okay. So there's not the tunnels that people like to romanticize and say well, maybe the bootleggers did store stuff in there. They're underground, but there's not tunnels where you can go down underneath here and go a couple blocks and come up with another building that we're aware of.
They do exist.
Oh, they do?
Yes, they
Okay.
do.
It's a puzzlement. On Lincoln Way again. Any idea what we're looking at here? Damerlin Piano Company. Right here.
City Hall Street.
Yeah. At this time called Factory Street. This was an old cigar store. This was the bus station for Massillon in this corner. And that was torn down, replaced by this. By the First Savings Loan Company. Again, this was another 1914 vintage construction. This picture's from the 30s, but it was built like in 14, something like that. Long and Pittsburgh menswear over here. This building was torn down years ago for the Massillon Water Company, which was a new building at the time compared to
It always
everything
looked
else.
funny in that spot.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. Over here, Ohio Printing. The second floor of this building for a long time was the Boy Scouts. Boy Scouts were up there. This was a heated sidewalk when they first built it to keep the snow from melting. And then in the mid-50s, in the stroke of genius, I'm sorry, before that, you could go, ta-da! You could go as I did as a kid and go to the Hoppy Savings Post and put money in your Hopalong Cassidy account, which is him over here on his white horse, and you would get your Hoppy Bank, where you put the money in a slit in the top of his hat, and you'd get your Bronco Buster badge that you'd get to wear. And this is Mr. Ed Rice. Yeah.
Rice.
Ed Rice is over here, and Catherine Kittinger was over here. And for a long time, I tried to find that Hopalong Cassidy Bank, and I finally found one. They wanted like $50 for it. And
Save
so
your coins.
Yeah, I know. So I finally did find one that said First Savings and Loan Company, which is from here. So then, in the 1950s, in the stroke of genius, they decided to modernize the building. So the piano factory in the back was torn down and built by this cube was built here. They ripped the columns off of here. Those were hauled off in the back of a flatbed truck.
They were salvaged at least.
They were salvaged. I don't know what they did with them.
I've always been told that they were moved southeast of Canton and used on another structure.
Is that right?
A big house.
I bet you they sent them to Rome and they used them in the forums of Rome as reproduction.
Maybe.
Actually, remind you, I do have a whole sequence of pictures taken during this renovation that shows these columns being gone away on the backs of trucks.
Well, this is sad, though. I always hoped that maybe we could get the original building somewhat back, but I can see that
it's toast.
it's totally-
When I used to work in here, and a guy came in one day and he says, I used to have the clock. I had the clock that used to hang on the front of your building way up here. And I said, so? What do you want to do with it? You want to give it back to us? And he says, no, he just wanted to come in and tell us. So I think I kicked him out of my office. But yes, I remember, this was done in 1958-59. And I kind of remember this, I was still pretty young. Of course now, today, or at least a few years ago, it looked like this Rubik's Cube here. And of course now that's Huntington Bank and city administration offices. It just doesn't have the same charm. This was another building in downtown Massillon. This was on the corner of Lincoln Way, or Main Street, and 2nd Street? 3rd Street.
Probably second.
2nd Wenham Street. But this is where the Five and Dimes were that we talked about earlier. And this is, of course, up here the Woolworth store. The Beehive was another Allman and Putnam Company, another dry goods store. You could buy stuff for your house, all that good stuff. Beehive had a fire.
Yes,
Couple?
1899. It was Massillon's first electrical fire.
Okay.
The window dresser let the bunting in the window touch that newfangled electric light.
Ooh.
Yeah. they were-
Bunting will get you every time. you have to mind your bunting. Now, is it, then they would have built this building then after that fire?
Yeah, they opened again like 12 days after the fire, and in a temporary space until they built a new building, and which would be this
Yeah,
one.
this one here?
And they lasted, oh gosh, I think into the 30s.
Okay. But this one did not have a fire though, did it?
No.
I think I
Well,
remember the wrecking ball knocking this
Okay.
one down. But, well, I'll show you what is there. Well, they tore down the Beehive and replaced it with the ugliest building ever built in Massillon. Zips Hamburger Joint, the building with balls. You can see them right up here at the top. And again, this was the Pill block. Is that
Pilley, I'm
Pilley?
not sure.
P-I-L-L-E was
Yes.
in that stretch right here. I think this was Stone Brothers store here, one of these two, maybe the both of them. And it's looks like its last days. The building is so ugly. Let's look at it again. Would have been so bad if they got rid of the balls. I don't understand what that was for.
That
up
was
there.
modern.
Is that what it was? Supposed to let you know that you're in 1956.
Space age.
Yeah. Zips Hamburgers. And of course, luckily that was torn down. And that all was replaced by the new structure going up there, which is the First National Bank. And then of course this building right here was the Westland Theater. Now, was that around? Do you remember that, or were you
Yes,
gone? You-
I
you
went to the
remember that?
Westland Theater for school patrol Saturday afternoon shows.
That's right. Al Bynum,
Yeah.
the manager down there. You go there with your junior patrol badge, and you get to.
They had birthday parties down
Yeah.
They
there
had
too.
birthday parties and
I
they
want a
had
bike.
company parties.
I want a box of
Right.
dots.
Did you?
Yeah.
My bike was better than your
Yes,
dots.
it was.
Eaton Manufacturing Company had their Christmas party there every year,
Okay.
their children's party, and everyone got a gift bag of a popcorn ball, an apple, an orange, and a couple of pieces of some candy type thing. It wasn't real candy. It wasn't like Hershey bars or anything.
Some
but,
tooth ripper.
Yes.
Yeah. Of course, Westland standing for.
West Lincoln.
I had no idea. I never knew that. I just, duh. Of course, the building was a nice Art Deco style when it was built. This took place at where was it the Lincoln Hotel fire or the what?
Yeah, there was the Lincoln Hotel was on that block. It burned in 37
Yeah,
or
I think
38.
that a fire. Then this would have been built somewhere about then. And again, this would have been a new building in the middle of old buildings.
Right.
You know, this had that kind of Art Deco look to it. And what I used to like about this, remembering as a kid, if you went in there, the restrooms were on the second floor, and you had to go up to the staircase, and there were pretty big wide steps. And you walked up, and it's all red carpeting, very very plush carpeting. And you go up to the second floor, and the men's room is over here, and the women's over here. Nice front on the bathroom doors, nice Art Deco details, Art Deco lamps on the walls and everything, couches and everything. It was very very nice. But then, as kids, we just wanted to roll down the steps because they were so soft, and we would. Just put the top of the steps and roll down. You couldn't hurt yourself; they were so soft. But stupid things you remember when you're a kid. Sorry to bore you with that, folks. But it was a nice Art Deco style building in the middle of an older downtown. Of course, today now it looks like this. Yep. What's that song? Jimmy Buffett? Down another parking lot.
Oh yeah.
Go in another parking lot. Something like that.
Yep.
Wake up, Jay. This is important stuff here.
I'm trying to remember the name of the song now.
All right.
Can't remember it.
The parking lot song.
Yeah, parking lot song.
I have the same memories you have from the Westland.
Okay.
Yeah.
We keep doing this until the cameraman falls asleep.
All right.
Then we're kind of done. On the south side of Lincoln Way, for many years, people would be able to go into Sears and Roebuck store, the old Sears store. Maybe it's just out of focus. Maybe it's just my eyes. Of course, National Floor is here. One of many Bob Hill barbershops. Every time we had an urban renewal program, poor Bob would have to move his barber shop. And then this is kind of the Sears building right here on its last days before it sold. And of course here we have,
Used to be
A
Bill's
parking lot.
Diner.
it was Bill's Diner, now it's a parking lot. It was also Gattuso's Diner. It was also Chet's Diner. Bill's Diner originally. Tigertown Diner here. Then they did haul it away. It was supposed to be set up in Cincinnati. I think called the Empire Diner or something in
Yes.
Cincinnati.
They added to it in the back. It was a pretty big restaurant, but
Okay.
this is the entrance.
And then, of course, this is the building here now that has the roof that's collapsing. And you look up here, and it looks like there's some issues up there. And this is in the 80s, this picture was taken.
It's Howard's now.
It's Howard's now, yeah. It was Western Auto at this time.
Well, where was Millie's?
Across the street.
across the
I'll
street.
show you across the street, yeah. Of course, now that's what it looked like before. Now it's got one of them things. But there you can see the building up there with that roof issue. With that
Yeah, but look at that New Hampton in the background.
Yeah, boy.
Oh, I love these old grocery
Yeah,
stores.
isn't neat? Isn't neat? This is where the old cops, Joe, used to walk by and just reach in there and steal an apple. Well, not steal an apple. Check the apple, make sure that it was good enough for the customer to eat.
They were health inspections.
There were health inspections, yes. Of course, this was Shoreham Brothers, again, typical of stores of the time. Grocery stores just out in Plainview on the street. And a few years ago, it looked like this. When it was BWS, of course now it's the bookstore. But you notice this little brickwork right in here. You can see it right here.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Of course, I think Schrader's IGA, I think, was in there.
What used to be upstairs at this location, Rudy?
This would have been the Arlington Hotel, right?
Has it always been the Arlington Hotel?
Yes. Has it?
Well, according to Mandy at the museum, just for 1 year, about 1 or 2 years, but it's always been there as a hotel, hasn't it, Joe?
Yes,
What else was
but the Arlington name was only there in the 1940s. We don't know,
Oh.
and we're not doing your research for you.
Oh. I must have dozed off in the middle of your program the other night and not caught that detail. Of course, that happens to me a lot. I doze off in the middle of my own program. So, of course, City Loan Company would have been in here too, on the right-hand side. Right there, yeah.
There's
There's
Millie's. It was really
Millie's.
Smitty's.
Smitty's Diner.
Smitty's. And then it became Millie's. And at that time, I used to still go down there. My kids were small, but they used to call it Smitty Millie's because it was right at the transition, you know. And then it became
Holes.
Hull's Diner. Yeah. Of course, this was Gutschall Builders over here, and this at this time, this was the old Ward Chrysler Plymouth
Kiefer Motors.
and Kiefer Motors. That's right. And back here was
Dylan's Shirt
the
Factory.
Shirt Factory. And is that the Maslin Skirt Factory too? You know?
Some people, I'm confused whether it was shirts or skirts. I believe
Okay.
it was shirts.
Shirts.
According to Bob Barton, and we can't ask him any longer, so.
What did he do? He up and died?
Yes, we lost him a month ago.
A lot of knowledge goes away when these old folks disappear, you know?
Where do Maslin made bloomers fit into the picture?
Oh my, I don't know.
I have a pair of Maslin made bloomers.
We'd like to see the,
Hey,
you in
got
that
off
there.
of me.
Can you censor that?
Yeah. We want you to model that
It,
for
sa-
us.
it says Maslin made, and that's the logo and bloomers. And I'll have to borrow them back because I've lent them out to a reenactor who's going to use them sometime this month.
Well, Rudy, when you research the Arlington Hotel, you can also be on the lookout for Maslin made bloomers.
Yes. If you need a pair of Maslin-made bloomers, just call Joe. He'll fix that. Actually, when we're done, don't shoot me. I'll show, I do have some advertising pieces from Maslin Bloomers, and I'll show you. That'll go with your bloomers.
Now, before you move on, tell everybody on TV in TV land what we're doing and who's talking here. Once again,
We
refresh it.
are.
And what's that sound in the background that's annoying
This
everybody?
this is a thing called a slide projector.
That's what you're listening
Yes, that's the background noise that you
Sorry
hear.
about
This
that.
is not my stomach growling. And we are the three historians, amigos. We're here with Margie Vogt and Joe Herrick, and we're looking at some before and after pictures of the city of Maslin.
to. Remembering Maslin.
Remembering Maslin, whatever.
I'm so proud. This is the first time I've been actually called a historian.
See?
Ooh, it's chronicled now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Documented.
I'm official now.
And I
There you
get
go.
called that, and I kind of duck from it.
Yeah.
I don't want the responsibility.
Yeah. We all say talk to Margie.
You say, go where- yeah.
The Maslin historian
That's right.
called.
We
That's why she gets the credit
You
in
got
your
it.
books.
We just dump it on her, man.
Jeez.
So this was replaced by another building with a red roof. Not quite the same, though. I mean, you go into here, and Polly Brown was working in here, or Millie Privilege, and Polly would say, "Sit down, you old knucklehead," and they treat you with tough love in there, and you could still smoke.
Well, they better not call you a knucklehead at McDonald's.
No, I know. Hey, let's see, customer service is just not what it used to be. That was endearing.
Yes,
You knew they liked you if they called you knucklehead. I think.
I think.
Um,
Oh, Old Canal Street.
yes.
Is this the old picture or the new picture?
Well, I don't know. I just confused my.
That looks pretty
I just
new.
confused my own self.
That looks pretty new. That has
Anyway.
the.
Okay, no, it's supposed to be there. Okay.
Okay.
So this is a quiz then. This is what it looked like a couple of years ago when it was Copper's. Of course, now it's Cosmos. What was it before, historians?
Wolgamott Electric was over here. I don't know what it was on the left hand.
Dillard's, I think it was, I was going to say it was Happold.
Happold Electric. I'm
Happold.
sorry, you're right.
And,
Happold Electric.
and Village Shoe Hospital.
Dillard's Shoe
Yes.
Hospital.
There's a fire
And-
too, right?
And City Shoe Hospital.
And the left half
There's
was
a
3
fire,
stories
right?
tall.
There was a fire. There was a fire. But yes, Margie said it that was also called Canal Street.
This was Canal Street, and so right where we see the brick sidewalk there in the front would have been fronting on the canal.
So a
This
few
is
years
the
back,
public landing.
would
Oh,
have
there
looked
we
something
are.
like that. Yes.
Oh, we're going backwards in time.
Yeah, I was flipping you guys up here a little bit. But across the back here would have been Lincoln Way, left to right. And then this coming across here was 2nd Street, or Canal Street, as Margie said. You see the coal loading docks there. The woman that was writing the book that lived up in Akron on women criminals, she, Terzillo, or is that through you? She did a story about Maslin murderers or something. And she needed to borrow this picture because this person that she was looking into lived right up the street from these buildings right here. So Jane Terzillo was her name. She wrote the book on crazy women in Ohio or something or other. Your name came up. By the way, I think only as a reference point. I don't think you were in the book.
You never know.
But, yes.
I always like it because you can see at the top of what's Cosmos now, you can see that medallion up there. Stop right there.
Here?
That still is there. It was damaged heavily in the fire, but you
Okay.
can see it in this photo from the 1800s,
Yeah.
and it's still there. It's just not in quite the good shape it was.
I think if our canal boat, if we'd had a canal boat guy here, he could have told us the difference between this one and this one. Is this a packet boat or is this a different kind of a canal boat?
The one on the right looks more civilized, like it
Yeah,
might
this
have
one
been
looks
more
like
for
passengers, yeah.
and this one could have been a coal.
Yeah, coal barge, since it's going up through the coal dumps.
I don't know, but that's what it looks like to me.
Yeah. Of course, all this, folks, went away in the remnants of it, 1913, last remnants when the flood hit the whole area.
No, the Warwick block.
The Warwick Lock, yeah, Hamburgers, Dragon Store.
Dragon Store.
And here also, this is on North Erie Street. Now this is weird back here because you see the canal. And the canal looks like it's gone the wrong direction. If you look at the maps of the time, you'll see the canal comes behind this building, north to south. The canal runs north to south. But behind the downtown square buildings, the canal opens up into like a big square that services the backs of the buildings over here that would front on Main Street or Lincoln Way over here. At least that's my assumption. But
When it did make a jog at that point.
well, there was a jog too, but
Yeah.
a definite
Yeah.
widening. Yeah.
The post office was in this building too, on the
Okay.
right side.
Okay. And of course, a few years ago. Yep.
Get that sun back out, yeah.
Yeah, no, I can't. Of course, Georgie closed the Did Georgie close the alibi or open it back up?
The alibi is closed.
Was it closed? Okay, because someone said he was having some second thoughts.
Well, I know he's trying to find someone to buy it and open it up. But,
okay.
Last I heard, it was not open at this time.
Okay. Another building down on
Third,
3rd Street would have been the old
Schuster Brewery.
Schuster Brewery here. Of course, here, this picture in the 20s, this was the People's Coal Company and the Knee-High Bottling Company. And then for many years, oh, I'm sorry, Schuster Brewery, many towns all around the country all had their own breweries. We had this one. And this is kind of how the beer was delivered from the brewery up in Crystal Springs
Yes.
or Millport, whatever it was called.
St. Louis.
And then,
It's Ulysses S. Rush. I think it might be Roosh, pronounced Roosh, driving the.
Well, driving the thing.
Yeah.
Was that right? So this would have been making deliveries to the bars in town, huh?
If this was on 3rd Street, is this where, would it be on 21 now? Would the building have been sitting where 21 is now?
Just about. When they straightened the river, this is right about where, just north of Town Plaza. Do you remember the old Oriole home? No, that's before your time, Joe.
No, but I do remember a photo of the Agathon that I thought had the Schuster Brewery in the background behind the fence.
Right.
So
So that's what this is.
Well, some of this
down
was,
by the Tommy Henrik mural,
Yes.
well, this building right here is still good on 3rd Street. Because what that was a part of was another building. Here, this building, right here. another Schuster Brewery building here. You can see the guys coming out here with the beer wagon here. But look at this building right here, and then the Ohio Drilling picture right here. So here's
So-
3rd Street right here. And a piece of the brewery was still here.
Okay.
Here. Here's
So-
21 over here.
Well, 3rd Street was shut down to make the heliport behind the Agathon.
Which would have been on the
So-
other side of that
On the other
building.
side.
So if you're at home plate on Agathon, looking out in left field, you would see this
Top of that
building,
building,
which
which
is
was the
what's left of the
Schuster
Schuster.
Brewery Company.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
See, just ask.
Historian.
Just ask Margie.
this is a great table to ask those questions.
See?
I screwed up Wolgamott and Happold Electric, so now I need to ask
That's
first.
right, that's right. See? Plus we got nothing to eat too. So.
Yeah, where's the chips?
Yeah, I know. It's
Yeah.
how boring. Of course, now this is not even a parking lot. It's just an empty
It's
lot.
an empty lot.
Yeah. Here's City Hall. Well, you still have the old City Hall over here, built in 1907. Mayor's office right up here, the 2nd floor. This would have been the YWCA and the cafeteria.
Yes,
St. John's Church over here.
and the bus station.
Oh yeah, and the bus station right in here. The Pinus, Pinus family. Yes, sir. A question?
Hang on a second. I gotta run back to the bathroom.
Okay. Okay, if Jay David would fix his kidneys, we wouldn't have to keep interrupting the show here.
Thank you.
This is the 3 historians, we call this. Margie and Joe and myself, we're sitting here looking at old pictures of Massillon, the town we all love. Here's a 1980s view again. I think we just said City Hall, the YWCA, the bus station, the Pinus family. Also the Hauser restaurant down there. Bonnie Hauser and John Hauser from the city.
Yes.
Her family. There's a sign, and they showed me a picture that said Hauser's Restaurant on the outside of the bus station.
Oh,
And-
I remember where it was in the back.
Yeah, and I'd never seen that. I don't remember that.
I wish Frank wouldn't have put the trash can in the foreground on this picture.
Right here, yeah, well, they didn't have cropping capabilities
That's
then.
right.
But here now, the YWCA and the bus station are gone, and the new City Hall is being built, and the old City Hall is still there. And of course, that gets torn down. It gets replaced by Duncan Plaza, and a fountain that worked part of the time.
But now it works all.
But now it works all the time. They fix it.
Yes.
Cool. Across the street from City Hall on First Street, which was called Mill Street back before it was First Street. I learned that from your program the other day. I paid attention.
Is this the new picture or the old
This
picture?
is the old picture.
Okay.
No, older picture
Okay.
of what it looks like today, when Ernie's was still in here.
Yes.
But an older picture
Oh, Fred Bratchy's.
would have been
gas
Fred
station.
Bratchy's gas station right here. Yes. Again, Lieberman's Bakery back here, and the senior high-rise over here. And tell us the Fred Bratchy story.
And he was one of at least 10 Major League Baseball players that we've had from Massillon. He came here after he retired from Major League Ball and opened this gas station, and this was a great place for guys to come and hang out. And he met a very tragic death because he burned his mouth on a cup of coffee, as I understand it. And he reached for another mug, which he thought had water in it, and it had battery acid.
Battery acid.
Yes.
Wow, where did it go? South Erie Street at the time, one of the biggest, baddest, most boldest, beautiful buildings in Massillon.
The
was
Opera
the
Block?
Opera Block. The Massillon Electric Gas here, First Savings Loan Company was still back here before it moved on Lincoln Way. F.W. Arnold Agency right here. Down here, Englehart's Music was in these lower levels. The taxi, or the telegram place. Western Union was down there.
Swaney's Bar was in
Swaney's
there.
Bar.
Is this Abel Fletcher's studio, or are
This
they
is
one
the
up?
next one to the
Okay.
right.
Next
It would
one?
be right to the
Okay,
next
okay.
one.
Now,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I was just going to say, you know, when it was built in 1869, it had all these retails, and of course they changed over the years. The second floor was the mayor's office, and Bates Printing
Bates
was
Printing
in that
was in
second
there,
floor.
yeah.
And then the third floor was the performance hall, the opera house itself.
Bird Opera House, Booker.
It was the Booker Opera
Booker.
House when it was built. Just community people, community leaders built it, and Jacob Booker took it over. And then as it began to decline, Sylvester Berg took it over. and that's when it
He was a
became-
real estate developer.
Yes,
Okay. Where was the bathrooms?
out back.
What was the story across the street from here? There was something going on at the buildings behind across the street. Do you remember?
I don't know. That's a bathroom story, and you know.
I'm
I
not
don't
sorry,
like
no
that.
bathroom stories.
I like bathroom stories.
I sunk. I'm sorry. back up. Yes. Okay. When I was a kid, this was gone. This top floor was gone. They cut that all off, and so just this bottom story was there.
I thought when I was a kid it was the ugliest building in
Yeah.
town, but now
Because, yeah, half
now
of it
we
was
know,
gone.
1929.
But speaking of ugly buildings,
Yeah, well.
this is the one that replaced it. And again, here, Joe, that building is still right here, and Abel's is right,
It's the
right here.
Yellow one.
Yeah. Never mind. I will keep things moving along. This is South Erie Street again, too. You're looking north on South Erie. Here's a streetcar here. He would be coming either back downtown or heading down south to the insane asylum. Doing the asylum loop, like they called it. It was the streetcars would go downtown, 15-minute ride, go down, they'd turn a big loop in the parking lot of the hospital, and drop off everybody and come back.
Pretty nutty bus then, huh?
Yeah, it was. Boom, boom. The hospital itself originally was the Eastern Asylum for the Insane. Okay, I'll go faster. Similar view a couple years ago. Not too bad.
Oh, the old stone block.
Yeah, 1960s, the Lee Furniture Fire. Stone blocks, still one of the oldest buildings in Massillon, I
Definitely.
believe.
Mhm.
Of course, the mansard, well, I'll show you another picture here. The mansard roof at the top is gone.
That's
Um,
Clyde
I was going to
Schenkel.
say, do you know who those are, Joe?
I yes, that's Clyde Schenkel.
Well, he was a crummy umpire, softball umpire. Today, kind of looks like that. That's depressing. Well, a couple years ago.
But it's
it looked like
salvageable.
It is salvageable.
We're hoping to open up the first floor again for retail before too long.
that. Good. Now, see at the top there, you can see the foundation for the old mansard roof that used to be up there.
That wasn't the original configuration of the roof. That was added, I think, in the 1870s.
Oh, was it?
To modernize it.
Oh, and the France must have been popular at the time. Of course, another building on South Erie Street. This big bad boy here, this picture taken in 1975. This was the Erie Hotel, also called the
Seiler.
Seiler Hotel, also called the,
Tremont House.
and,
Oh, Zeeley's.
no, I just see if there's any more.
Oh.
I'm just checking. Of course, Erie Hotel, and
So is this where we get Seiler Terrace Park?
absolutely, right there on those apartments, right to the left of this, right down here, Seiler Terrace, from Seiler's Hotel and Peter Seiler's Cigar Factory.
Yes,
They used to make cigars.
in the 1880s.
And this was a 1980s picture here. You can see the roof is gone. This was after the fire. For many years, one of the scandalous murders in town took place in this building right here.
Who was that?
Uh,
Dun, 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 dun.
bottom of the steps, boom.
That wasn't the Dr. Hart one?
Yeah.
I thought that was a couple blocks south of there.
Yeah,
Next to the house next to the fish and tackle place next to Elmer's.
No, I always thought it was here. All right, we'll have to look at it and get back to you on that one.
I'd like to mention on the Erie Hotel that it started with a disaster. The night that the grand opening, there was a huge flood. Washington's birthday in 1848. Huge flood, stranded the people who were celebrating, and then it ended in fire. It was kind of
Wow.
ironic.
Double fires. How we doing there? We got to talk faster, huh? We're running out of time
Got
here?
about
Okay.
8 to 10 minutes.
Okay. This is what it looked like a couple years ago. Just fire. Okay, go. Floods, always been a problem in Massillon. This is the 1930s floods. Back here would have been the Carver Cigar Store down here. I'm not sure what the hotel was up here. The Boston store here, which later is currently is the Senior Center. And this over here was the J.C. Penney store. A few years back in the 80s, it kind of looked like this. This was Carmen's downtown. The Mortland Shade Shop was in there. The Tiger Town Lounge was at the end of the alley. This was also called the Central Restaurant. or the new Central Restaurant, one or the other, downtown Massillon. And then currently, or at least within the last few years, it kind of looks like this. This is the new Muriel.
Muriel.
On the side of the building.
Canal Muriel.
Canal Muriel. Airplane view. What's odd about this picture to everyone except the three historians is the river down here in the bottom. Yes, that loop used to cause a lot of the flooding problems in Massillon until it was straightened in a major construction project late 40s, early 50s, where they straightened the river. Actually, you can see it in here now. You're looking to the south. The river came here like this, wound over here. There's Agathon over here. Back here behind Millie's Diner, all that stretch of properties there, made another left turn and went down here. The water would come down here, a lot of snow, rain, especially in 1913. Too much water here, it slows down when it hits the banks, overflows, and then spreads out all over the downtown. Look at that.
Wow, that was
All over the downtown. All over the downtown area.
We're gonna get you a picture.
Graphics.
Yeah, wow. That's early laser stuff there. And then, of course, then they built the new bridges, Lincoln Way and Cherry and Walnut Road to cover that. But they cut a channel right through there. Just eliminated that loop, filled it in. That's where your Town Plaza shopping center is and everything. That kind of eliminated the flooding. Here's a picture from, I love this picture. It's not a great one, it's from a book. You're looking on Lincoln Way to the south. And this is the proposed route for Route 21. But this is the picture was taken in 1952. So the levees are only like 3 years old, or 4, whatever that was. And the grass hasn't even grown on them yet. But that's looking south. And this is a similar view today.